Hey, shalom, shalom. Before I get started, as always, I want to give all praise unto our power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruach HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations and blessings to the hopeful elect that is scattered throughout the four winds of the earth that believe wholeheartedly in the true doctrine that is being pushed throughout the four winds of the earth, who are in hope of mercy and salvation during the time of Jacob's trouble, which is now, all right, as well as when Yahweh Shai returns to the planet earth. All right, to you and to you only I say shalom, and may Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai's grace and mercy be bestowed upon you in these trying times. This will be a response, a spiritual 2 cents, adding into the video that's been going around this weekend, or this past weekend, of Jake out there in Canada that got rolled up on by that individual who pulled the strap out. And I just wanted to speak on it and, admonish and exhort brothers, man. You know what I'm saying? It's the first time I saw it, the Elder Barak, he put it in our chat, and up underneath it, he put, brothers, please, forget if he put, do not let anyone get this close, or one arm's length, or something to that effect. And I was like, yes sir, you absolutely right. You don't never let, I don't give a fuck what's going on, man. You don't never let a man get that close to you, and he's in a spirit, he got that demonic violent spirit on him, and he's looking for trouble. You know what I'm saying? A lot of you Jakes out there, truly, it seems like you're not knowing what the fuck you involved in, man. And more importantly, you're not knowing the times that you're living in. Because just because you got the Bible and you teaching the Bible, don't mean that won't no harm come your way. I mean, let's be real, man. You understand the scriptures. You know what we're doing, and the times that we living in, or at least you should. You know what I'm saying? Because when I watched the video, okay, he handled the situation. But my thing is this, and I'm just speaking as a man, but I'm gonna tie in the scriptures as well. Okay? What if that dude was a killer? And I hate to use the what if. You know what I'm saying? Because we all know Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, he's in control. Alright? He's in control of every situation that we find ourselves in. Alright? But what if dude was a real killer, and you let him get that close up on you, and you still nonchalant talking about, let me read to you, and this, that, and the third? You could have been dead, bro. And I hate to single this dude out, but this is, the Most High had it happen to you. But you could have been done for, right on camera. You could have been done for, and that'll be the end of you. And you steadily talking about, let me read something to you. What if he was a real killer, playing to be drunk, playing to be belligerent, just to get that close to you so he can stick you with something, or hit you with that, get close enough to bust you in your fifth rib with that pistol? Or what if he had a sharp ass blade and got that close and was able to get to your jugular, or stick you in your liver or something? We in the time of war. You can't be lackadaisical. just because you got the Bible does not mean harm is not going to come your way in these times, man. Okay? They already painted us Israelites out to be violent because of certain Israelites. All right? We already have that stigma of being violent. Some carry weapons, this, that, and the third. Right? But what if dude was a real killer? You ever see the movie with Michael B. Jordan? It's called Without Remorse. Now, when you watch that movie, there was a scene where he was, after what had happened to him, he was on some vengeance shit. And one scene, he had to get to this building, but it was heavily guarded. He had some armed guards out there, and what he did was, he went and got a bottle of the cheapest vodka liquor or whatever. He doused his clothes with it. He pissed on his clothes while they were in the tub, and he was drinking a little bit, and he poured the liquor on his body so that he could present himself as being a belligerent drunk. But really, he's a cold-hearted killer. That was a disguise. So we gotta as teachers of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai's word, we gotta be more wise and more in tune of what the fuck is going on in society, as well as the times that we're living in, and more importantly, what we are out there declaring and doing. All right, the message that we have is not a peaceful message to these heathens. All right, and the way people are struggling now, everybody's literally on edge, and you can't take nobody lackadaisical in these times, man, because it could be the end of you. Now, I listened to Apostle Tahar's response, and his response was pretty much the same thing. You don't let nobody get that close to you. You handle your business. And you got it on camera, so you justify it. And then I listened to Elder Malcolm's response. All right? And his was on point as well. All right? We are not in the time to be fucking playing around and be lackadaisical, man. Because in my opinion, that brother up there in Toronto, he wasn't in the right spirit. Here it is, we bring out the scriptures to be ye circumspect. You know what I'm saying? Because the days are evil. But you let a man get that close to you to where he could have ended your life. Even though the spirit had it to where you got the upper hand, and you beat the blood out of his face. But you could have prevented that. You could have prevented you could have got that motherfucker away from you a lot sooner than what you did, because a real killer could have ended you right there because he was too close. You let that man get too close upon you. And I'm just using you as an example through the spirit that other brothers, especially if you go out there by yourself, and like Apostle Tahar said, if you are by yourself and there's no other brothers in your area, your state, your city, don't be going to these little back alleys and where nobody's at, because we are being watched. All right, just because Esau ain't put it on his media and declared us as the enemy, don't mean we are not the enemy, man. We are the number one enemy of this damn devil. And I truly don't believe a lot of you get that. You don't really get that we are that number one enemy to this man's system. You're not understanding the subtlety of this devil. He ain't gonna tell the world that, yeah, those guys on the street corners, they're the real problem. Remember, going back to 2018, you had that security personnel. I forget the actual the meeting that they had here in the States And the woman straight up said that, I did a video on it not too long ago, another video on it. She said that the real problem that we gonna have is with the youth of the so-called black community. All right? And we ain't did nothing to them motherfucking Amalekites. All right? But the issue that they have, without them saying the real issue that they have, is that we are coming back to who we truly are. We're starting to find out that we are the Israelites. Okay? Rappers, actors, you know, they all, the message is out there. You just had this weekend, you had IUIC on another march at the 2819 prayer day for these Christians, and IUIC showed up and spoiled the party, marching around the stadium, you know, deep. So the message is out there that we are those people. So this is the real issue that they have with us. All right? And we in the time of this devil getting violent. What you think ICE is out there for? What you think the National Guard is being deployed for? What you think they took away all these civil rights laws that the generations before us fought and bled for, to get them put in law so that we can be walking around out here and have some sort of protection, all right, without getting lynched. But now you're starting to find there's a lot of niggas being found hung, man. Young Jakes, young truck drivers that be going out into these different backwoods cities in the South and whatnot, thinking shit is sweet, and be missing for a little bit, and then they come to find out they find them hung, hanging from a goddamn tree. You had one Jake, he was hung in the middle of a college. Okay? So you gotta recognize and know exactly what times that you're living in, man. You can't be out here just, oh, I'm reading the Bible, so, you know, I'm good. The Lord told us, man, that it was gonna come a time to where it's gonna be dangerous, and we in that time to where it is dangerous, you know. And a lot of you Jakes, I don't think you truly believe that what you're involved in comes with the highest level of danger. Just because you reading the Bible don't mean that danger ain't gonna come your way. All right, danger will come your way. Okay. Especially because you're a believer, a true believer. All right? So yeah, like Apostle Tahar said, if you a brother that's by yourself, man, go to where there's people, commerce going on. Don't go to where somewhere it ain't nothing really happening. Because like I said, we are being watched. All right? We are the number one enemy to Edom's society, because we have the truth. All right? Truth is what this devil is afraid of, man. He's afraid of the cold, hard truth. All right? And we have it, and we're declaring it upon the mountaintops by the World Wide Web. And you don't think that they have people tuned in, watching, and checking us out? You ain't never watched the movie Judas and the Black Messiah? You ain't never watched the movie The Spook Who Sat by the Door? You supposed to know your enemy and how they get down, man. All right, you think Esau just gonna roll over and let us get the kingdom like that? Because we reading it out of the scriptures? It tells you in the book of Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter, all right, it gives you his mind frame. It gives you what he says. He declares that he looks at us as counterfeits, and our ways he abstains from, right? And then it says what? Let us see if his words be true. So how is he gonna see if our words be true? Esau gonna get at us, man. All right? And yes, first and foremost, you believe and trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. But sometimes we in the time to where you may have to get cracking. All right? We in a time to where you may have to get cracking on somebody, man. And Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai forbid, right? But if you do, you want to know what the fuck you doing. Okay? Because like I said, if that dude was a real killer, brother, you would be done. You would be done talking about, I just want to let me read this to you. He wasn't trying to hear nothing, man. He wasn't trying to hear the Bible. If he was sent there on a real mission to get you up out of here, and because you let him get so close, all right, and he had that little gun tucked, he had his gun tucked, all right. Now, what if it could have been a sharp ass blade he had tucked that he could have just hit you, stuck you a few times in your ribs, punctured your major organs, and left you there to bleed out? Okay? This is how I think, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. Ever since incidents that happened out here, and even before that, all right? Because through the spirit, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai had it fortunate enough, the Elder Barak, he's been in combat, so he's shown myself as well as other brothers certain things, all right? And he's, you know, he come with that, he came with that spirit, man. That shit ain't all sweet, man. You know? So it's imperative for bros to pay the fuck attention, man. All right? Don't be out there by yourself in these little areas, because don't think that you're not being watched because your views are under 10 views or whatever. If you proclaiming that you're an Israelite, you are being watched, and you're not being watched by you know, nobodies. You're being watched by this government, man. Like I mentioned, the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, the movie The Spook Who Sat by the Door. All right? We know about COINTELPRO, or you should. All right? Okay, we got to take things a lot more serious than you know what certain brothers do. All right? Now, when you tie in the scriptures of our forefathers, don't you know all of our forefathers, they were warriors, man. Even though they believed and they was walking with the Lord, they wasn't no fucking pussholes, man. They wasn't no punks. I'm not saying that the brothers are punk, but for example, dealing with Abraham, our forefather Abraham. Don't you know Abraham, when you go to the book of Genesis, the 14th chapter, and when you look at it in the top of the blue letter, it speaks about I think the heading of that chapter says war with the kings or something like that. Matter of fact, let me see. Genesis 14. Yeah, War of the Kings is the title of this chapter. And when you go down to the 14th chapter, the 14th verse, right? It tell you that Abraham and his servants, his trained servants, all right, they had to go get busy, man. All right? It speaks about them going to get busy, all right, to get his nephew out of a jam. All right? The scriptures speak about in 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, that when these evils start to happen on the planet Earth, that we are to be like pilgrims. What you think Abraham was on when he had to go get cracking? He was on a pilgrimage. Same thing with King David. When the Amalekites kidnapped Abigail and the rest of King David's men's household. All right? What you think they were on? They were on pilgrimages. All right? And we always bring out the things that were written aforetime were written for our learning. All right? They They gotta be coming quick in these times, man. You can't be sitting there letting a motherfucker get chest to chest with you. And you talking about, oh, let me read you something. No, fuck that. Straight up. You know? Fuck that, man. This is why the Most High got it to where you can join the gym for $10 a month. Some of you jakes don't even, you don't even work out. So when the funk happen, you won't have no breath. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never really been into no combat type situation. You don't know what it feels like to have a grown man trying to take your fucking life. So it'll be all new to you. And like I said, I'm just, speaking as a man, but ultimately, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah is in control. We know that. But you can't be ignorant and goofy out here, man. All right? So I mentioned Genesis 14. Matter of fact, I could read it. Genesis chapter 14. And 14. It says, and when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants, born in his own house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. And he divided himself against them, he and his servants by night, and smote them, and pursued them unto Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. So the point I'm bringing out is, our forefathers that walked with the Lord, they weren't no fucking, choir boys, so to speak. They weren't ignorant of combat. All right? They trained. All right? Same thing when you read about King David. When you go to, 1 Samuel, the 30th, I believe it's the 30th chapter. After King David acquired Abigail, after the Most High killed Nabal, King David and his men, let me get that one. Okay? 1 Samuel 30. And this is when they were on a pilgrimage. All right? It says, and it came to pass, this is 1 Samuel 30 and 1. It says, and it came to pass when David and his men were come to Ziklag on the third day that the Amalekites had invaded the south. And that's what's happening now. Jake is being invaded in your neighborhoods. All right? And pretty soon it's going to be invasions to where they ain't going to be locking nobody up. They just going to be invading to kill. All right? Like the movie, The First Purge. They coming to where you at, and they not coming to, lock you up and make sure you ain't got no warrants, make sure you a legal citizen. No, they gonna be coming to kill. See, right now they just testing the waters, so to speak. But pretty soon they gonna be coming to straight take your life. Okay? It says, I'm going to read that again. It says, and it came to pass. Oh, shit. I'm about to go this way. Salakia. Let me get in this lane. It says, when it came to pass, 1 Samuel 30 and 1. Get up in this gas station real quick. And it came to pass when David and his men were come to Ziklag on the third day that the Amalekites had invaded the south. Them tiny tops, right? And Ziklag, and had smitten Ziklag and burned it with fire, and had taken the women captives that were therein. All right? And those women were King David's women and his men's women, right along with their young children that they had with them. Okay? It says, and had taken the women captives that were therein. They slew not any, either great or small, but carried them away and went on their way. Right? So David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captives. See? So these type of things happened. These type of things may happen in these times that we living in, man. All right? Especially when it's time to be a pilgrim out here. When you gotta actually be a pilgrim out here, like the scriptures say, when all hell breaks loose. All right? Society won't be intact as it is in this day. All right? To where you going to work every day, then you come home, you go to sleep, wake up to the alarm clock, do the shit all over again. No, society's going to get to the point to where it's going to be total anarchy and chaos, man. All right? And you going to have to be out there moving around. Brothers and had dreams of it, man. All right? It says, so David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captives. Then David and the people that were with him lifted up their voice and wept until they had no more power to weep. And David's two wives were taken captives, Ahinoam, the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, the wife of Nabal, the Carmelite. And David was greatly distressed for the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord, his power. And that's ultimately number one right there. All right? And, you know, when you read on, which I'm not going to get to read on to, but when you read the whole chapter, it tells you he inquired of the Lord, and he had to, you know, him and his men went and handled their business and got everybody back. All right? But the reason I bring them points out is because when you look at our forefathers, they weren't fucking you know, they walked with the Lord, they did what they were supposed to do, but they also were trained, and they also knew how to handle themselves if needed be. You know, and you got to apply wisdom in every aspect. You know, you can't just be out here willy-nilly, man. Just because you got the Bible, don't think that violence won't come your way. All right? Because it will come your way, man. Especially in these times. Okay? Especially in the times that we're living in the atmosphere that's out there, man. You are public enemy number one, Jake. Whether you want to believe it or not. All right? You ain't did nothing, but you did something. The Lord chose you. All right? That's why you're public enemy number one. So, yeah, man, I just wanted to say a few things on that. I could say more, but I don't want to write this out. The point was made. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, not to single out that brother, but the Lord did actually, you know, have that happen. But don't be letting motherfuckers get close to you like that, man. All right? And for you brothers out there that's, I don't know what the fuck wrong with y'all, excuse my French, that don't work out, you know what I'm saying, that's, you know, yeah, trust in the Lord, of course, 100%, 144,000%. All right, but the scriptures speak about the working out of the body profiteth little. All right, you know, the reason your knees hurt because you don't use your knees. You ain't put them to use since you were young. You know, the reason your stomach is protruding is because you don't do no cardio, and you just eat, and you eating big portions of shit that you shouldn't be eating. And that's why your stomach starts to protrude. It's a reason the apostles and the elders do videos on nutrition, do videos on health, do videos on walking and working out and things of that nature, so you can apply it to your life. You never know what you may need. Okay, you got to approach this thing with the attitude and the spirit Like Jake say in the world, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And I ain't talking about a weapon. I'm talking about being able to defend yourself with your own physical capabilities, your own body. All right? So, yeah, that's it, man. That's pretty much it. I don't want to harp on this too long, but I just wanted to speak on it through the spirit. And then don't forget Yahweh Shai. Matter of fact, let me get this last scripture, because this, when you go to the book of Luke, the 22nd chapter, all right, I know in my Bible, it don't say it here in the blue letter, but it says let me see. I know in my Bible it says the coming calamity or something like that before Yahweh Shai told his disciples what he told them. Let me get that real quick, and I'll actually show it to you. Yeah, when you start at verse 35, right here, well, Will, you can see it. Down here in 35, it says what? It says the Messiah predicts coming conflict, right? And then when you read down, he tells his disciples, I'm going to read it. And he said unto them, when I sent you without purse and scrip and shoes, lacked ye anything? And they said nothing. Then said he unto them, but now he that hath the purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip. And he that hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. Right? Because the coming conflict Yahweh Shai was talking about was when he was going to be taken away, and the Romans was going to be after the tribes. I.e., we get the book of Acts, we get what Nero did, we get what Titus, Vespasian, and Domitian did, right? And now we're about to relive all of that all of that over again, as far as the book of Acts and being enemy number one, because Nero's in office. Okay? Nero's in office, and he has these Edomites on edge. These Edomites, all right, truly believe that you are the problem. But you are the problem, Jake. You are the problem. You're the chosen. And you stand in between their society continuing and them establishing their new world order. You stand in between that, because you are the chosen people of the Lord. You are the people who the promise is coming to. All right? So you stand in between that. So you are public enemy number one, whether you want to believe it or not. We ain't in a time of kumbaya, can't we all just get along? You be in that spirit if you want to, and you're going to find your ass out here bleeding somewhere. Okay? Because a lot of our people are finna be caught, because they don't, first and foremost, they don't have Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai with them. And they think that shit is sweet. They think that this is an all people thing. No, it's not. It's about the chosen. All right? It says, for I say unto you that this that is written must yet be accomplished in me. And he was reckoned among the transgressors, for the things concerning me have an end. And they said, Lord, behold, here are 2 swords. And he said unto them, it is enough. All right, and that's a small segment, all right, in Luke the 22nd chapter, all right, because Yahweh Shai was getting ready to go through his suffering. And he was just letting them know, look, when I'm gone, y'all gonna have to, handle y'all business, so to speak. Okay, so like I said, this is just an exhortation and an admonishment for brothers to first and foremost continue believing in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, putting all your trust in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And also, man, don't be no goofy out here, man. Don't think that you ain't being watched by this government, all right? You know, I remember years ago when I was working for this company, and I ended on this. I used to go up north every night. I used to take the Grapevine. If any of you brothers ever been to California, and you in California, and you know that Grapevine, all right, going up to 5, heading up north, especially in the big rig, right? That's a very steep down climb, and if your brakes is bad and you heavy, you can get messed up. You can get messed up. You can fuck around and lose control because you can't brake and kill yourself and people in the process, because that's how steep the hill is going down. So anyway, one night I was going up. I went up. I got to my destination, swapped freight, and it was time for me to head back. And as I'm heading back, and mind you, the dock that I was at, when I docked, it's a real dark dock. The only light was inside on the dock. When you outside, you got to have a flashlight to look around, you know what I'm saying, and whatnot. So while we were in the dock, this is my theory, and I believe this wholeheartedly with everything in me, what happened. When I was going up, brakes was fine, stopping perfectly, right? When I'm leaving, as soon as I'm leaving to get out the gate, and I hit the brakes, and they were loose, and they weren't stopping like they were supposed to stop. And I was like, what the fuck going on? So, you know, I'm testing it out as I'm on the road, and I get on the freeway, and I'm like, yo, this shit don't feel right. And so as I'm going, it's just a straight, I mean, the brakes were working, but they weren't working good. If I would have got to the hill and tried to brake coming down, ain't no way I would have been able to stop. So I pulled over, and I called my dispatch, and I said, hey, man, something wrong with these brakes. I'm not getting a tight push, and it's like air is coming out faster when I push the brakes. So I'm going to pull over, and y'all got to send somebody to come check it out. So what they did that. The dude showed up, and he looked at my, you know, the lines. All the lines was right, but then the metal bracket to where the lines were hooked up, he showed me it, and it was cut so fucking precise that it didn't break off. It was like a laser sliced into it and just, you know, left it like that, because the cut was so, it wasn't a break, it was a precise cut. And then I looked at it, I was like, man, that looked like a laser. He said, man, I never seen nothing like this, but this was where your problem is. And he said, and it's not a break, it just looked like a perfect incision, like a perfect cut. And I'm thinking to myself, I thought to myself automatically, and somebody must have been following me, knew what it was, and, you know, try to kill me to make it look like an accident. This is what I didn't say shit to him, but this is what going through my thought process, right? Because the cut was so precise on the metal. It wasn't plastic, it was fucking metal. The brass bracket that you hook the hoses up to and whatnot. It was the bracket that was just, it was cut like a hot knife through butter, but it was still pressed together. And when he found it, he said, man, I just put a little pressure on it and it just snapped off. And it was a perfect, literally like a, you know what I'm saying, a perfect cut. You can't cut nothing no perfect unless you got a certain tool or a certain weapon, like a laser, right? And, you know, and I say that to say, you never know, man. We are public enemy number one to this devil and his system. And you have to move that way. You know what I'm saying? Be ye circumspect, because the days are evil. We constantly bring out those scriptures, and we don't bring them out for our health. We bring them out because the scriptures is there for our learning, man. All right. So with that, hey, man, I want to, you know, keep on talking on and whatnot. But hey, call Allah, Yahweh Shem Shai, Lord will. This was exhorting, admonishing, and edifying to the hopeful elect. Stay prayed up. Stay close to the waters. Pray for one another. And keep Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai at the forefront. Hey, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakatham. Shalom. On to the next.